All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. And my guest today is the one, the only, the biggest guns in the THC. Art I'm sorry, I forgot already. Is it Aldeguer?
Aldeguer.
Aldeguer.
Aldeguer. Yeah.
Aldeguer. Okay, I'll remember it when I do the intro. But
No problem.
yeah, thanks for joining me, Art. And
No
how you
problem.
doing tonight?
Pretty good. It's a little warm here, but pretty good.
Yeah, you're all the way out in Cali, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Long
Uh,
Beach.
yeah, that's awesome, man. I've always wanted to get out there. Uh, Seemed like it'd be a great place to live too.
Yeah, it's nice. At night it's usually cool, but this summer it's just been brutal.
Yeah, got AC though, right?
I do. I don't like to leave it on too often because it
Yes.
eats into the toy bill.
Yeah. No. There you go. All right, so the first thing I'm going to ask you is, you know, when you were a kid and you first started, did you, obviously you play with toys, but did you, play with like everything, or did you have certain things that you like to buy or collect, or?
Okay, so my favorite toys. So I had a favorite series, and that back in the day it was Robotech. So
Oh,
it's
very nice.
Robotech and Transformers, GI Joe. Um, so when it comes to collecting, at first, my first Transformer was actually Soundwave.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember I remember getting Soundwave, and I was like, man, I can't believe how cool this is. This is before I even saw the cartoon. I don't know how it happened, but I went to the store once and I saw like the box, and I was like, this is amazing. The colors, everything. And once that started, it's like I started watching the show, and I'm not sure what it was, but it had to be Optimus Prime's voice. And in the first episode, he goes out of his way to save somebody, and I think it was just the voices of Starscream and Megatron, the way that their personalities were articulated enough to where it was a simple drawing, but yet there was so much emotion and feeling involved that it really drew me in really fast.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to Peter Cullen, by the way.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, he's definitely got that commanding voice. Like, definitely want to follow him, do whatever he wants to do.
It's so interesting because not only does he sound, he's got the deep manly voice, but he also sounds kind at the same time. And I think
Yeah.
it's really hard to pull off tough guy with a gold heart. And I think, at that time, it was a new thing. It wasn't so overdone or crazy. It was just soothing. And I think that's what sold me on the series right away.
Did you ever see the video that he did at I think it was at some sort of convention where he explains where he got that voice from?
No, okay. I believe the story is his brother was a Marine, and Peter Cullen had done some minor voice roles. And when Peter was talking to his older brother, he asked for some advice, and I think his older brother just said, be yourself, let it come from the heart, sound strong, but also sound kind. And I think he took that to heart. And when Prime was voiced, it just came out right, having all the attributes that his brother said while still being Peter himself. And I think I think that's the story everyone's talking about, or at least that I read.
Yeah, yeah, that's the same video I saw. Yeah, it was really cool to see how he came up with that. It was kind of inspiring.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part. I accidentally
Oh,
hit a lost like 2 seconds.
I just said it was really cool seeing that video. It was like inspiring hearing him talk about how he came up with that.
Yeah, I think my eyes were watering. You know what? As a matter of fact, I think that happened on the Netflix show, The Toys That Made Us. I think that's when they spoke about it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't see the interview, but it was one of the creators that was talking about that particular. So I didn't see the actual video. I just heard the creator talking about it and
Right.
how it came to be.
So Transformers, obviously. You said you collected GI Joe as well.
Yes, I collected GI Joes. I only had a few Joes though. I had Wild Bill and his helicopter, and a few other minor things. So it was basically Transformers, GI Joes, and a little embarrassing, but I don't know if you remember the charms from back in the day. You go to little machines, you turn the knob, little bubble comes out, and you get like a little tiny charm, like a keychain thing almost.
Oh, it sounds familiar. The keychain thing sounds familiar.
Right. So they were a little girly or whatever, but I remember I used to collect a bunch of them and make chains out of them. So those were the three main things that I collected were Transformers, GI Joes, and it had comics. But I didn't have the
Oh,
regular comics everyone else had. You know how people have like Marvel and DC and Dark
right.
Horse. I had Archie comics.
Oh, Archie was a shit. I fucked with Archie.
Oh yeah, the
You,
double digest.
Veronica or Betty?
I'd have to go Betty just because Veronica is just too conniving.
I'm greedy. I would have taken them both.
I didn't know you could have that choice. Why
Nah,
not
but
both?
neither of them would have had me. I'd have probably had better luck with Jughead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was, but I was captivated. Not only that, but you spent the same amount you would spend on like a 14-page comic, and
Yeah.
you get like a double digest.
Oh yeah, yeah. You would get them big, thick ones with Archie comics. I remember just getting them just because of the volume of them, just because they were cheap and it was a lot of content.
Yeah, you get a lot of content, and it also, so it was the 80s, it took place in like the 50s. It didn't really say, but it felt like it was in the 50s.
Yeah,
I just thought
definitely.
that
Yeah.
whole thing was cool, the the interaction between the different characters, and even at the time they had a mix of different kinds of people. It was interesting. Looking back, it's like, wow, it was actually kind of ahead of its time.
I wonder if one of these like 112 companies like Figma or like Figwatch or something will ever make like a 112 scale like Archie and Jughead, and that'd be kind of crazy. I bet it might even. I bet it's already out there somewhere.
It's probably there. I mean, they made a movie. I mean, they made a Netflix show.
Yeah, yeah. I
Which was
haven't I
nice.
haven't seen that. Yeah,
Uh,
Riverside. Is that what it's called?
yeah, I think it's called Riverdale. Riverdale.
Riverdale. It's like edgy Archie, right?
It's a little edgy. It's a little interesting. It's not bad. Okay, so the first few seasons were kind of cool, and then they got really crazy. And if you don't know, they also have Archie versus the Predator
Oh shit.
comic book series. I haven't actually read it, but it's actually pretty graphic. But it actually has the Archie characters and the license, but they're fighting predators. Like, it's weird. It's really weird, but it's pretty interesting. I need to collect the volumes and read it, but it's interesting.
I can imagine Jughead coming in like Arnold style with like wheel like barrel chested Jughead with a machine gun in each hand, like come and kill me now.
Do it. The funny thing is it's drawn in the Archie style. So the predators look really, really weird, but
Goofy, cartoony and shit.
it's kind of goofy and cartoony, until someone's head gets torn off, and you're like, oh yeah, this is still Predator.
Nice. That's pretty fun. I have to check that out. So was Soundwave your favorite Transformer then, or was it just the first Transformer that you had?
It's just the first Transformer. It was the first one. My favorite right now, if you're asking me right now, so
Sure.
I have a top three. It's hard to say. You have Optimus Prime, which everyone likes. That's a given, right? Then the second one is Grimlock, because Grimlock isn't the most intelligent, but he does things that, after he learns to self-sacrifice. When he gets all the brains in the world, becomes hyper intelligent. What does he do? He creates life with it, and he gives up his intelligence to create the Technobots.
Yeah.
So although he's simple and slow, his heart's in the right place. Even though his motivation's in the right place, but sometimes he's on the wrong side. But he has his motivations in the right place. But my favorite character is Omega Supreme.
Oh wow.
And the reason being is, one, he's a flawed character. He lost his emotions. He's slow. Because we all know his past, right?
Sure.
He had friends and he got betrayed, and so his heart was filled with revenge. So they took the simplest character, a big giant guy that was slow and hurt, damaged, and they gave him a deep story. And part of the cool thing is, so he's too big to hang out with the Autobots. They can't go in the Ark. He can't go in any buildings, right? And he's not big enough to be a Titan like Trypticon or Metroplex. So he's kind of like the loneliest robot. Not only does he have a tragic past, he's got anger issues, but he's also alone. He doesn't fit in with the Autobots. He doesn't fit in with the Titans. He's kind of his own.
He's got one foot in both worlds,
Yeah, right.
and
Without
therefore
being
not
either.
not part of one. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think, growing up, I grew up in Illinois, in a suburb called Summit, and I was the only person of my color, let's just say. And I immediately felt like a kinship with him, as his being different and I'm different. I was like, oh, well, I like this character. At the same time, we have a lot of things alike. He was also huge and powerful,
Right.
and I was one of the smaller guys because Midwest in the '80s, there's not a lot of Asian people at the time, so it was kind of cool to have that kinship and to think, yeah, that's cool. We're alike in that way.
Yeah, it's rare too to see a character from the G1 show like actually have like a fleshed out like character. Like they weren't like the best at doing character development either. So that's it's
No,
interesting that they decided to focus on him for a little bit.
oh, definitely, and I think that was one of my favorite episodes was the Secret of Omega Supreme.
Yeah. Did did he was he one of the ones that got I can't remember. It's been so long since I went through and watched the entire series, but was he one of the ones that got did the Gold Lagoon? Did he get the
Yes,
painting?
he was in one of
Okay,
those
yeah.
episodes, and also it's the self-sacrifice. There's a scene there where Galvatron turns into his gun mode, and what's the first thing Omega does? He jumps in front of it to
Yeah,
protect the others.
nice. That's awesome. So what was I? So okay, you were collecting that you just I guess I feel weird saying like collecting as like, what did you collect as a kid? Because I feel like we were more playing at that. But I mean, some people were collecting, but I was more just like buying shit so I could play do
You know,
big battles and shit.
I was like that too, but my grandpa's. You know what it was? Not only did I play with all the toys, but my grandpa brought me to Toys R Us like every weekend. Every single weekend we'd go and he'd buy me a new one. And so before I know it, I've got a whole ton of these things. And I was like, man, I remember opening up the little packs. And remember when the second generation came out, you'd open it up and there was like a whole bunch of new stuff. Whereas
Yeah,
like the first one was just the Seekers, Megatron, Soundwave, and then you start finding the newer ones and you get these huge ones, the new G1, but later seasons. Like not later seasons, but like the newer versions to come out of stuff.
yeah. You're talking like the headmasters and target masters and like the combiners, all that kind of like the later kind of shit.
Oh no, no, before that, I'm talking like
Oh,
okay.
okay,
First we got the Cars and Seekers,
right.
and then slowly afterwards they're like, oh, there's Devastator now. Oh,
Oh,
there's
okay, yeah,
Omega.
yeah.
Oh, there's Skyfire. Kind of like
Okay, I
G1
got you.
1.5 sort of thing. I
Yeah,
remember
you started
so
getting
excited.
your I'm blanking on the names. You like the different other than just the cars.
Under the Disco Arc. I mean,
Yeah,
I remember one for some reason I keep remembering this. Like I remember playing with was it Top Spin and Twin Twist? The guys you pull back and you flip up.
yeah.
For some reason, I remember like, wow, these guys don't transform like the others do, but they're so fun. And the color coordination. I think for me that was when like I was really in the peak of, you know, enjoying the toys and really being into Transformers. Was when those two came out.
It's funny you said that your grandpa used to get you shit because my Matt Baldwin, the first guest I had on, he said a similar thing, and I actually have a similar. It's almost the exact same thing. Like my grandpa, I was the firstborn grandchild, so my sister didn't come until I was like 4. But
Right.
apparently every time that he used to see me, he would have a transformer for me, and he kind of like spoiled me, where he would just buy me. That's all he would ever buy me was trans because I loved them so much that he just buy. I even put the picture up I had on the last video. I'll throw it up on the thing when I edit this one too. But there's
Right.
a
Right.
picture of when my sister was just born. She's a baby, and my grandpa's holding her, and I'm 4 years old sitting there, and I'm just playing with Headmaster Highbrow, and then right next to me I have the Monster Bot, the Double Cross.
Oh, that's awesome. Man,
Yeah.
I wish I had pictures of me. I have pictures of me in cowboy outfits with realistic looking cap guns, you know.
That's dope.
But it's like I don't have any Transformer stuff. It's maybe I do somewhere. I'll have to check.
Yeah, it's funny the grandparents they don't seem to always be the ones that like spoil the kids because
Oh
they
yeah.
don't care. The parents have to deal with them. So
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
did you stop? I see a blurry person walking by there.
Oh, yeah, that's my wife.
That's funny. So you ended up did you always keep collecting or did you kind
All
of
right,
grow out of it?
so here's how it goes. Here's how the story went. I have to condense this later. It's too long. So around at the time I was 11, my mom, because we're from the Philippines. She's from the Philippines. I was actually born in Illinois. She wanted to move from Illinois to California because of the weather and because she liked to go back and visit a lot. California is, a whole 2,400 miles, miles closer. So she wanted to get away from the cold weather and, move in with some of her relatives here and be closer to the ocean and have the better weather, right? So when I was 11, we basically packed up and moved. The problem is there's only so much you could bring in Mayflower, and so I had all my Transformers. I remember I had 53 Transformers, some Joes, all my little toys that I collected, and we're like, well, we can't bring it right now, so we'll just all shove it in boxes and leave it with her relative's house back in Chicago. So when we drove from Chicago to California, I was in a new place. I came from like the Midwest cornfields to like, Southern California, LA. And, collecting was no longer my thing because I had left it all behind. I'm in a new place, new place. It's almost like a new country, really.
Yeah.
And I just got out of collecting. I got out of toys. I was at the age, 12, 13. I started getting into Super Nintendo. I'm not Super Nintendo, wow. I started getting into Nintendo and video games and riding bikes outside, and I didn't do it again till in my 30s.
What was the catalyst that got you back in?
Okay, so there have been a couple shows. Beast Wars had come out. I didn't really care for it much. I'm like, they're robots in disguise that are becoming animals in disguise. No hate, and I did have that guy too.
I'll bring this here.
So check this. So I never had the chance, unfortunately. I don't know if you can see this. I never had the chance to really watch it. So I wasn't really my thing. Just symbols that, and then other shows came out. For a while there, I watched Car Robots, the Japanese version. I think it's called Robots in Disguise. And it was pretty cool. It was okay, and I thought it was neat. I bought a couple of the figures, but I never really got into it. And then a few years later, Animated came out, Transformers Animated, and at first I was like, "This is the worst. Look how terrible it looks," right? But I started watching it, and I'm like, "Oh, the story's pretty neat." And I saw some of the toys at like Target or Walmart, and I'm like, "Wow, they look exactly like they do." I was comparing it. I'm like, "Wow, he looks exactly like he does in the cartoon." Transformers exactly the way he does in the cartoon. And the cartoon actually had a good story with Omega Supreme too. I don't know if you remember watching it, but Omega made it.
I hadn't seen anime. It's I've animated one. It's one of the ones I definitely need to watch because from what I understand, it's got a really really good story to it.
I'll tell you what. If you want an Omega Supreme fan by G1, he comes out on this one, and it's just like bonkers. He does some amazing stuff, and it's just the story arc revolves around him sort of, and it's pretty good.
Nice. I like the I think in the Unicron trilogy, there was a nice Omega Supreme toy that was, I think it was like was it a big ship? And then I can't remember.
I think trains attached to his arms. It was like a bunch of different
yeah. That always looked pretty cool. They redid him.
Tribute to it. Yeah.
The Toys R Us one, they redid it with one of those platinum. It was like, I think the one before Year of the Horse. Might have been Year of the Snake, I think they redid.
Right, he had the gold and the red.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job on that. I liked it. I never felt that. I guess because I was so G1, I'm like, oh man, he's not Omega enough.
Right.
I mean, they give him a name. He got the faceplate, but it's Prime where G1 came back, and he came back strong, and his alt mode made way more sense than it did even in G1. Because alt mode was awesome. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I do recommend you watching it. Get over the art style to get to the story. That's what I say.
I've read a lot about the story through various like wikis and I like watching like lore videos and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, like that Chris McFeely guy, he does the basics on. He does some really good ones. So I'm familiar with some of the story arcs.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So Animated got you back in. Did you buy any of the toys? Yeah, what you said, yeah.
Oh yeah. So here's what I did. So I bought some other toys, left them on boxes because at that point I was that guy. I was like, oh, let me just leave in the boxes. I don't want to play with toys. Who does that? I'm 30 X years old, right? So I had them all put away, and then funny thing happened. So one time I was browsing for the Masterpiece came out, right? The cars, and I was looking on Amazon for them for the KOs because I'm like, at the time I'm like, I don't want to spend those $60 on a Transformer. What am I, a kid? So I'm browsing through Amazon and I see Grimlock, MP08 Grimlock. So I buy them. Of course I got them and it was a floppy mess, but I was like, oh, Dinobots, it's nice. And then I forgot what happened, but I met up with someone because I on it's called Let Go. It's like a it's like an app for like Craigslist, right?
Okay.
And someone was selling a Dinobot Kubrar, right? I'm like, what's a Dinobot Kubrar? I didn't know what third party was yet. And so I was looking at pictures. I'm like, oh look, it's like Slag, but it's modernized. It looks kind of cool, and it was like cheap, right? So I'm like, let's meet up and see it, right? So I met up and I bought it. And Kubrar, it's from Fans Project Lost Exo Squad. So anyways, I bought it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's got metal on it. It's got sharp claws. It looks so good and so high quality. And after I bought that, the guy's like, oh, by the way, I know of a group on Facebook. You can meet up with us. We do Transformers meetups every month in the local area. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. I guess I'll show up to one. So here's me. I only had one toy, and I showed up to this place, and there were people my age, people younger. Everyone had Transformers. The movie was playing on the DVD player in the back. Everyone was drinking beers and talking about other grown men, talking about Transformers. And here's all my combiners, and I met a lot of good people through there, and that's kind of how I, got acquainted with the hardcore collectors. So next thing you know, I'm like, so I can spend a little bit more and get the Dinobots and this and that. And next thing you know, I took all my animated and I looked at them and I said, wow, these are cool, but this Kubra is just so much better. I no longer want these. So I sold all of those and I started buying an insane amount of third-party Dinobots. Anything that I could get my hands on, I started buying. And I don't know if you've seen my posts, but I've always posted like tons and tons of dinos.
Oh yeah, I see your fans toys out there all the time.
Yeah, and just I went in. I'm a creature of habit. Whenever I see something I like, I just went nuts.
So those fans toys Dinobots, they came out in a time where my collecting was newer. So I wasn't about like, oh, there's no way I'm spending $200 on a Transformer. Here I am with this fucking $300 Megatron right here. So now all the fans toys Dinobots are like way more expensive now. So like it would be too much to go back and try and buy them. But I'm going to TFCon this year, so I'm hopefully maybe I'll find a couple. I have the Grimlock, the MP Grimlock, the toy TRU reissue.
Right, right. That's what I have too.
Yeah, it's nice. But you're right. It's a floppy fucking mess. But I'd love to get the other ones. I don't feel the need to rebuy an MP Grimlock for fans toys, but I'd love them. They all look so good, man. Those other ones look beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I look at them and it's just like Grinder, Stomp. They put a lot of care into it, and that's why people like them so much. You get them in your hand, it's like wow, it's not too flashy, it's not too crazy in any way, and it's easy to transform, and you don't break them every time you transform them. And at one point, actually, I had 3 whole sets of that. I wasn't buying anything else but them, and it's like wow. And then I realized, it's kind of weird. So I ended up selling some off and just getting a whole mix of things. And, a lot of people who collect, they keep buying and buying and buying. But I got to a certain point where, like, I don't want this to take over my whole den. So I said, you know what? Every time I get those, after I get to a certain number, every time I buy one, I want to look at my collection. And if there's one thing I like the least of them, I'm going to take that one away and sell that. So my collection is more fluid. It's like, I don't know what the number is, maybe 80, but whatever it is, whenever I buy one, take the least favorite one in the whole bunch, I'll package that up and sell it.
Nice.
That's kind of what I did, and what I've been doing.
I'm at a point now too where I have like this. I'm way like streamlined my collection where I have like a goal in mind as to what I want, and I want season 1, season 2, and movie MP Transformers. I don't feel the need to collect season 3. Not that I don't like any of those bots, but all the ones that I do like were in the movie anyway. So I just want to just kind of like get that over with. So I've been buying a lot of people's like old shit. So like when like Fans Toys releases sends out their announcement for their Astro Train, and people start selling the DX9 one.
Right,
so
right.
I just want to yeah. So with Chigger or whatever it is. So
I just realized something. Chugga, choo choo. It's the sound of a train. I just realized that.
I didn't really think put that together either. I know the Fans Toys one is Thomas, right? Thomas.
The train. That is just bad.
Yeah. Or maybe somebody will do like a 3D print, like Thomas the Tank faceplate you could put on the.
Oh,
Put
I'm
on it.
sure. I'm sure it'll be a fifth party group that does it.
Yeah, for a party. So right now you're just more interested in the MP style.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. So when I started getting deep into MPs, I was looking at retail stuff. I'm like, man, it just sucks. And then Siege came out, right? And I'm like, I can't do it. It looks all weird. Why would I want to get this retail stuff? I already got the best version of this. My thinking was, I have Masterpiece Soundwave. That is the best version. Why do I need anything else? And then my buddy David City, he sent me some. He didn't send me Siege stuff yet. I bought the Siege Jetfire, and I was like, wow, this thing is freaking sweet. That's what you have it right there.
I do actually, yeah. I
And
haven't
was
put this away yet.
wow, they did a really good job on it. And next thing you know, I started getting into it. And then my buddy David, he sent me a couple, and I was like, wow, they're fun. And you know, they're smaller, easier to. I don't feel like I'm gonna break it. They're more affordable. And the good thing is they're G1 enough so that I recognize the characters, but yet they're still modern, and you know, they're posable and they're a lot of fun. And so right now my thing is getting Siege stuff, and because it
Nice.
doesn't.
I actually prefer. I'm in the minority here, but I actually prefer the Titans Return line over the Siege, and the reason being is I don't. I mean, not that I think they're terrible, but I'd rather have the straight up like G1 look rather than a stylized. And I'm not a big fan of the weathering and the battle damage stuff like that. I'd rather have the clean bot.
Oh yeah, and that's my complaint. I don't like the weathering, but I don't want to remove it either.
Yeah, it's not that
I'm
it looks
trying
bad.
to-
It's the effort is
I'm trying to
nice.
figure it out. Right. Yeah, no, the effort's nice, and I like them because they're different than the Toon MPs. So
Yeah.
they're a good balance, I feel.
I bought the Jetfire because I think it looks so good that, it's big enough that it'll look fine in an MP collection. And I know it's a little bit smaller than Phoenix, but Phoenix is going for a fucking arm and a leg right now and a nut. So I'd rather just have that. It'll look fine in a DTOF next to, MP or whatever I go with for.
I got a good
Office and
story
stuff like
for
that.
you. So I got a good story for you. So I'm guilty of hubris. So at one point I had Fanstoys Phoenix and Fanstoys Phoenix X at the same time.
Okay.
I had them both. I'm like, this is awesome. There's no way I'm gonna like anything else. This is the best, right? And then when Siege came out, I'm like, oh, that looks terrible. But then one of my buddies in California Collectors Group, Derek, was selling his. I'm like, you know what? I'll try it. I took it out of the box, I did all the poses, and I'm like, wow, it was so fun. It's so cool, right? And I'm like, there's so much I could do with him. Pose him dynamically. He's just big enough because I always felt Phoenix is a little too big, even for Masterpiece. And next thing you know, I was having a lot more fun with him, and I'm like, wow, I have X amount of hundreds sitting on these two figures, which I don't even want to touch because there's no posability, very limited articulation, and I'm afraid of scratching it. It's too expensive to damage, right? Next thing you know, I lost interest in them, and now here I am with Siege, with one Siege, and no more.
You sold both of them?
I sold both of them.
Shit. I see the one. Another one that you keep posting is the Siege one. The
Correct,
pictures
correct.
yeah.
And I gotta say, it's fun, and I don't feel like. Obviously, I'm still careful with my toys. I don't feel like I have to well, let me make sure I don't scratch the paint. Let me make sure I don't break anything. If one of my, $30 Siege toys breaks, I'm gonna feel bad, but I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, what have I done? I could have paid off my car with this. They're not a car payment, so it's kind of nice to have a toy that's used as a toy versus, hey, look at this. I'm gonna stick it right there and leave it there forever and never touch it again. I actually like being able to manipulate it, and to me, that's priceless. As soon as I got over trying to have the biggest and best, as soon as I got over, oh, you know what? I can just have one that's fun. And
Sure.
I enjoy my collection way more now than I did before.
Mainline is good day-to-day stuff, man. It's like you said, man, I love my Fans Toys Springer, but if I want to play with something, I gotta, I gotta watch a video to transform it, and it's just, whereas I can just grab this Jetfire, Siege Jetfire, and just kind of transform it. I'm a big fan of just like the biggest appeal to me of Transformers is actually transforming them. So it's almost like therapeutic for me to just kind of sit there and just transform a thing into a jet and then just transform it back and maybe grab another one and play with that one a little bit. So you can't really do that with a lot of the third party ones. Like you said, I'm afraid I'm gonna break them.
Yeah. And some of them do. I mean, I hate to say it, but I've had the Giga Dinosaurs also.
Yeah.
And man, every time I transform, I feel like stuff's gonna break. And then I look down at my desk, and there's like little tiny pieces of paint and flakes.
Oh no!
Like every time they look good, they feel great, but every time you manipulate them, you look at your desk, and there's just like, oh, what are these extra, shards of plastic doing here? They weren't there before.
Nice. One more quick question.
Sure.
Unicron. Did you back Unicron?
No, I did not. Not because I don't like it. I think it's amazing. And I feel silly because I didn't back him, but I ended up getting 3 primes, which is like, I do like Unicron. I don't like waiting. If I could cut the check right now and get him tomorrow, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd be like, boom, there it is. But what kills me and why I don't like to pre-order is because I'm not patient. I think I ordered MP44 like in December or something like that. Like the first day you can pre-order, I pre-ordered it, right? And I forgot that I did, so I ordered 2 more. And then I forgot to cancel them. And when I did, it said, oh, you can't. And I totally forgot. Next thing you know, I get a message saying, oh, by the way, you have 3 of these coming in. I was like, oh God, this is why I don't pre-order. I don't have memory. I can't remember. So yeah, I don't recommend pre-ordering. Well, it doesn't work for me because I'm impatient. I'm a here and now kind of guy. I'll pay extra for next day shipping.
Right. Yeah, that thing, it was just too expensive of a thing for me for what it is. Again, I like it. I think it looks awesome. There's them giant cans on the feet are kind of look a little weird to me. I don't know if I would be able to get over that. The big somebody said that they look like a stack of Pringles around his feet.
Yeah, it's interesting, and if you're a Prime fan and you don't have to worry where your next meal is coming from, and if you pull it, definitely pull it. It's definitely a luxury item. It's a luxury item amongst luxury items. But
for sure.
If I was any smarter with my money, I would probably just stick with the MS or a T01
for Prime, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about the Unicron. The big panels on the feet. Somebody said they look like a bunch of Pringles chips stack up.
It's a little weird. You know what though? It's going to be the best Unicron out there.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. The Zeta one looks cool, but it doesn't look near as, to me, even those kibbly bits aside, like the bigger one, it's more menacing and
yeah, Unicron. I want it. If you sorry, I got sidetracked. I was thinking Prime again, but
that's okay.
Unicron, if it was coming out in a month, yes, no problem. But to pay some money and then wait, that would just kill me. I'd be like scratching at the walls and looking out my window waiting for him to come. That's the only reason why I didn't do it. But I still might. Because it's the best Unicron we're probably ever going to see. And
I might get the Zeta one if I start seeing some color shots of it, and it looks nice, because I think that looks really cool too, and it's for the price point it's going to be cheaper.
Oh yeah, and it looks like the cartoon, and it's better than the cartoon version we have.
Yeah.
I like it too, and I like Unicron's character. I mean, it wasn't really that deep, but the voice was just amazing. And plus, there's that scene where he kind of rips into Cybertron, and it's like, I could watch that 1,000 times. He's not evil, he's not a bad guy. He just needs to live, right? I mean, he has to consume worlds, right? He's not malicious or anything, right? I mean,
kind of has to, like Galactus.
Yeah, right. So I'm not trying to justify a mass murder, but the tiger has to eat a zebra every now and then, or it dies, I guess. Great character, though. I love his look. I love how they just totally said, we're just going to make something completely outlandish. And I just remember, I made, the face Galvatron makes when he sees Unicron's true form there, as he's transforming. I guarantee it, when we were all watching it for the first time, that's the same face we made. No one would have predicted. Well, maybe they would have, but I didn't know that it was going to be a giant robot. And I think that alone, that nostalgic piece where he just transforms for the first time, that alone is why I want to get him.
Yeah.
Either the Zeta or the Hasbro Pulse one.
Right on. Well, I hope you pick it up. You know what? When it's all said and done, I'm gonna just be glad to stop hearing all the fucking people bitching and arguing about Unicron and MP44 for the past month. It's the community's been a little extra cunty these last, and it's people on both sides too. And I'll be glad for it to be over, because even though I'm not getting it, man, I'm super happy for whoever wants it, and it's awesome. And I hope it does really well. And I'm glad that the people that got MP44 really like their MP44. So it's no matter what happens, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, and I think it makes it fun. It's the passion that we have. Whether you're, pure heart, you're like, I gotta have official, or you just want to hate on something for a little while. It's fun to have the discussion. The fact that we're all passionate about this kind of stuff is what makes it fun. Forget what the toys are. It's the passion and the emotion that brings it, that makes it enjoyable. I mean, right? It's all about, competition. It's all about, well, here's my opinion. And that's what makes it fun. If we all like the same things, then how fun would that be? We wouldn't even have discussions. We'd be like, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's the passion that really brings out the things. And, I like it. I like that, sometimes I post stuff just to see what people are going to say. I try not to be too offensive, but I'll just post something up and say, hey, challenge me. Let's see what, and it's fun to see people jump on inside. And sometimes you'll be surprised. There's people that I thought I knew, and when I post something, their opinion goes this way, and I thought it was swing this way. And it's just amazing that,
yeah, figure. That's why I like the THC group, because for the most part, everybody that participates knows, not each other personally, but like,
right.
There's a little, sometimes less arguing, because we're all like kind of cool with each other, so we know when people are fucking around, and we know that
right.
when you post something and other people are fucking with you, then we know it's all fun. It's not just there's no vitriol in it at all. For the most part, it does get there sometimes. And that's when somebody has to come drop the hammer. Are you one of the admins in THC?
Oh no, I am not. I just post a lot of stuff and say things, but no, I am not. I know a few, including Mike's one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Mike and Levy, I think, are admins.
I think the thing I get most out of Transformers is actually meeting the people. THC, I actually met a lot of good people through THC that I'm now friends with in real life, that we hang out with regularly.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool, and you just can't get that. You can't get that without a group. These toys would just be toys, but without people to talk about it, I put up a little video. I put a picture of Prime shooting Hot Rod in the back.
I saw that. Yeah, that was good.
It's so enjoyable. If I just took that photo and looked at it myself, how fun would that be? You know what I mean?
It reminded me of
people have their comments.
Reminded me of Walking Dead when Carol killed the little girl and she was like, "Look at the flowers," and she just shot.
That's funny you mentioned. I was thinking that. I didn't know where I got it from or what it was from. I just remember there was a scene in the movie where we were like, keep looking, and it shoot him. I think the same thing happened with Mice and Men.
Yeah, the rabbits and shit.
Yeah, so
tell me about the rabbits.
They're over there, and he taps him.
Funny.
I mean, we have this huge discussion about, well, people shouldn't hate Rodimus. People shouldn't hate him, right? And they're like, oh, you can't get over it? And I'm like, dude, it's just for fun. I don't hate Rodimus. He's not even a real person. You know what I mean? It's fun to hate on fictional characters.
You know what the thing is, that even though he's responsible for the death of Optimus Prime, he still looks cool though.
No, he definitely looks cool. I mean, Flaming Winnebago. I mean, that works for me. I like the car mode. I have the toy. I have the Masterpiece toy.
Yeah, I never got.
Cool.
I should have got that reissue when it came out recently.
It was a gift. I got it as a gift. A lot of my toys I get as gifts.
Nice.
You know, I say nice things to people sometimes, and I'm like, hey, take this. I don't like this one. You can just take it. Next thing you know, someone sends me stuff. That's how I got all my Siege.
No, right on.
Yeah, sometimes I send somebody, people are asking for something. I'm like, just take mine. I don't like them. I have no more room. It doesn't spark joy. I send it over. Just take it. Next thing you know, I open the box. I get mail. It's a box full of stuff that I like. Oh, cool. So it's about the fandom. It's about the people. The toys are just they're just a catalyst, so to speak, to meet people.
Very cool. That's a nice way of putting it. All right, and with that, I'll let you go. I know I said that originally this was only going to be a few minutes, but we kind of got off on a tangent.
That's awesome. That
is awesome.
Yeah, I can do this all day.
I might actually split this up in the two videos. I might do the interview and then do a whole separate one of us talking about MP10 or something like that. Yeah.
44.
MP44. Yeah.
I do the same thing all the time.
I'll call it MP10, the video discussing MP10.
10 years too late, but yeah, it's cool.
But Art, thank you very much for coming on, and thanks for being my second honorary guest on the Dickbird Origins.
Sure. Had a lot of fun.
Thanks everybody for watching, and have a great night.